In a remote corner of an ancient kingdom lived a merchant named Elias Rowan with his gentle wife Mara. After years of waiting, they were finally blessed with a single son, Aidan, a boy his father cherished more than anything else in the world. Yet Elias carried a belief that often clouded his judgment, his absolute trust in fortune-tellers. Before every journey, he visited a well-known seer who claimed to read destinies from the palm of a hand. One evening, just days before Elias was to travel with a long trading caravan, he visited the seeress again. She examined his palm carefully, then whispered with unease, "Your wife will bear a daughter, and this girl will one day cause the death of your son." The merchant froze, his face turning pale. Mara was already pregnant, and the thought of losing Aidan to some dark destiny shook him with fear. He prayed that the child would be born before he left, so he could fix the problem himself if the prophecy proved true. But the birth delayed, and the caravan would not wait. The night before his departure, he called Aidan and spoke with stern urgency. "If your mother gives birth to a girl, you must not let her live. The seer has never lied. Do not fail me." The boy listened in silence, torn between love for his mother and obedience to his father. But he nodded. Elias left believing his son would carry out the dreadful command. Days later, Mara gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. She named her Lila, a name filled with tenderness. When Aidan held the newborn in his arms, her tiny fingers curling around his thumb, the idea of harming her shattered inside him. How could someone so small threaten anyone? He wondered. He delayed the deed, day after day, until delaying turned into affection. Soon he could not imagine life without her laughter echoing through their humble home. But months passed, and his father's return grew near. Terrified that Elias would kill the child, Aidan made a desperate plan. He entrusted Lila to a kind neighbor, Thomas, who pretended she was his own daughter. In return, Aidan took Thomas's infant son and prepared to present him as his newborn sibling. When Elias returned, he accepted the lie without suspicion. Years passed, but secrets never remain buried forever. One afternoon, the merchant overheard Lila calling Mara mother. Everything unraveled. His rage was unlike anything Aidan had ever seen.
Elias drove his son from home with a final command.
"Do not return until you bury that girl, alive or dead." Forced by fear and despair, Aidan took Lila, now old enough to walk, and rode with her deep into the wilderness. He dug a pit beneath the burning sun, each strike of the shovel devouring a piece of his soul. Yet Lila, innocent and unaware, helped him gather stones and dust, believing it was a game. When he finally asked her to step into the shallow pit, she jumped in laughing. Brother and sister rode toward the uncharted forests beyond the valley. Aidan's horse grew weary, and Lila, still clutching his waist, trembled in confusion. Along the way, Aidan found 2 abandoned wolf pups. He took them in, raising them like guardians. They discovered a secluded oasis with a clear lake, fertile ground, and tall reeds. There, Aidan built a small shelter from cane, then later replaced it with a sturdy stone lodge. Years passed. Lila grew into a striking young woman with golden hair and calm eyes. The wolf pups grew into loyal companions, following Aidan on every hunt. To protect Lila, he constantly warned, "Never open the door while I'm gone. Father may still be searching." She obeyed, until the night the wolves sensed danger. While Aidan slept, a pack of wild wolves descended upon the oasis, snarling at the horse tied beside the lodge. The wolves fought fiercely with Aidan's wolf companions. Lila shook her brother awake, terror in her eyes. Aidan rushed outside with his blade. The fight was brutal. The last wolf lunged at him, pinning him to the ground. Without hesitation, Lila grabbed Aidan's hunting bow, pulled the string with all her strength, and released a single arrow. It struck true, saving his life. Aidan stared at her in disbelief. "You saved me." She embraced him tightly. "I would give my life for you. You're all I have." That night, Aidan knew the prophecy had been nothing but a lie. One morning, Lila walked to the lake to wash clothes. A young prince, Prince Rowan, hunting with his guards, noticed her from afar. Her beauty and innocence struck him profoundly. Startled, Lila fled home, hiding what happened from Aidan, afraid he would forbid her from leaving the lodge again. But the prince sent his trusted handmaid, Lady Anwen, to discover who the mysterious girl was. With clever words and feigned weakness, the woman convinced Lila to open the door, breaking Aiden's rule. The moment Anwen returned to the palace, she told the prince everything. The next morning, Prince Rowan arrived at the lodge himself. He invited Lila to live in the palace, promising safety and comfort. Torn between fear and longing for a better life, she finally agreed. When Aiden returned from hunting and found Lila gone, panic consumed him. He followed the traces of horses straight to the royal palace, but the guards barred his way. With nowhere else to go, he returned to the one place he once called home, his father's house. There he learned that Mara had fallen ill from years of grief. But Elias, hardened by superstition, still refused forgiveness. So Aiden returned to the palace gates and waited, until Lila finally spotted him from the window. She ran to the prince, begging him to bring Aiden inside. Rowan welcomed the young hunter, offering him food, safety, and warmth. Aiden was stunned to see his sister in fine garments, surrounded by maids. When Rowan learned the full story, he summoned Elias to the palace. The guards brought the merchant before a royal judge. The courtroom echoed with shock as Aiden and Lila revealed the truth. When asked why he ordered his daughter's death, Elias answered, "A prophecy foretold she would kill her brother." The judge slammed his staff on the ground. "No one knows the unseen but God. You endangered your children because of superstition. Your fear nearly destroyed your family." Lila, trembling, intervened. "Please, my lord, forgive him. I cannot live happily while my father suffers." Her mercy stunned everyone. The judge reduced the punishment to 5 years, not for the prophecy, but for the pain Elias had caused. Lila and Aiden visited their mother immediately. When Mara saw them standing in the doorway, alive, safe, grown, she burst into tears and embraced them until she could no longer breathe. Months later, Lila married Prince Rowan in a grand celebration that filled the kingdom with joy. She lived in the palace surrounded by love, while Aiden became the prince's most trusted huntsman. And thus, a prophecy meant to destroy a family became the reason they found strength, truth, and forgiveness. If you reached the end of the story, tell us in the comments which country you're watching from, and see you in the next tale. If you've reached the end of the story, please subscribe and tell us in the comments which country you listened to the story from. Goodbye.